Hi there, guys.
Hi everyone.
This is Wes, and Wes Fittell has been in kids ministry for how many years?
Over 40 years.
Over 40 years!
Yeah, I don't like to think how many more.
Anyway, today he's been doing a training session, and so I'm going to be uploading some parts of his training session. So enjoy!
Okay, using our senses. There are our senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste and touch, and each of those have got certain amounts that they affect our lives. Now it's interesting that 1% of what enters our brain comes in as a result of smell, 2% taste, 3%, if we can get up there, comes through touch, 11% comes in through hearing, and an amazing 83% comes in through sight. What I would like you to do now is I'm going to take those numbers off the board, and what I want you to do is to put your hand over the numbers, and beside the diagram that we just put there, see if you can remember and write the percentage of what comes into our brain that comes from each of the senses. Hands up if anyone got all 5 of those right. Did anyone get 4 right? 4 or more? Okay, pretty good, great, good on you. 3 or more right? Okay, 2 or more? Who got only 1? Okay. Yeah, okay. But it's interesting, isn't it? We can actually find ways of memorising things really quickly. And I'm going to help you today to do things and come up with strategies that are going to help people remember important things. You don't have to be brilliant to do it. When my wife and I lived in the Philippines, we used to travel a lot in the country by bus. And what used to amaze me is you get on a bus with about 100 people on it, and the bus conductor would come walking through asking you where you were going. He'd walk through the whole bus, then he'd go and sit down the front, and he'd have all these tickets, and he'd punch holes in them that would show what mileage stop you were getting on the bus, what mileage stop you were getting off, what the date was that day, and how much the fare was. And he'd come through the bus and hand everyone their tickets. And then a bit later he would come through and collect money from them, but some people didn't have the right change. That was fine. He'd go and sit down the front and fiddle with his money, and sometimes he'd stop and go into a shop somewhere and get some change, and then give out, and then he'd walk through the bus and give everyone their change. And he did it all by memory. Because Filipinos learn everything in school by memorization. Unfortunately, a lot of things they don't get taught to understand things, just to remember them, which gets a bit tricky when you get to some scientific things and when you go to a doctor. But it's interesting. But our brains are amazing, and they can hold an amazing amount of information, and they can collect it. I'm going to need 10 people to help me for this. I need 10 volunteers to come out the front. I just need to warn you that you may end up on video. That's all. Each one of you represents 10% of what you're going to teach in your class, okay? Gillian is really important because she represents how much people are going to remember from your class. Because you see, the statistics tell us, the experts tell us, that we remember 10% of what we hear. Now, that's really good, and I'm really proud of you, Gillian. I think it's wonderful. The only problem is, this is my problem. I used to be an engineer. And as engineers, one of the things that we like to do is to be efficient. We like to use our resources all for one benefit. And we've got 90% of what we've said in our class is going to be totally forgotten. So you people, in a sense, are the waste. Now, I don't like to think of you that, but that's what you are, isn't it, at this point? So that's not very good, because we only remember, and let's say this together, hold up 10 fingers if you've got them. If you haven't, 8 fingers and 2 thumbs will be great. So we remember 10% of what we hear. Okay, let's do it again. We remember 10% of what we hear. Okay, now that's great, but I want to do something about this 90%. And there is a very simple way of increasing the number from 10 to 50. So I want 4 people to come and join Julian. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We can make ourselves 5 times as effective if we don't just talk, but we allow people to see what it is we're teaching. Because we remember 10% of what we hear, and now our fingers are going to be worth 10 times as much, and 50% of what we hear and see. So if we have visuals, we make ourselves 5 times as effective. Let's say that again. We remember 10% of what we hear and 50% of what we hear and see. I'm still concerned about this lot. You know, 50% is good, and it's 5 times as good as 10, but it's not as much as what I want. We can bring the number up to 70. So can we have 2 more people? Brad and Carol, come and join the elect. Stand over here. Be important, because we can get the number up to 70% if we have people not just hearing and seeing, but hearing, seeing and saying. So we remember 10% of what we hear, 50% of what we hear and see, and 70% of what we hear, see and say. That's good. We're getting better, aren't we? But we've still got 30% of the problem. But there's good news. There's good news for some of you, because we can actually get the number up to, there we go, 90% quickly. Quickly.
I'm a little bit of a senior person.
No, that's all right. I understand. Okay, we can get it up to 90% if we don't just have hear, see and say, but hear, see, say and do. I don't know what to do about this. I love her dearly.
That's okay.
But I don't know how to get to be 100% efficient. But just think about it. If you're going in to teach kids, what would you rather have happen? To have them remember 10% and forget 90%? Or remember up around 90% and only forget 10% of what you did? Is it worth making a few changes in the way you teach to do that? It certainly is. Because we remember 10% of what we hear, 50% of what we hear and see, 70% of what we hear, see and say, and 90% of what we hear, see, say and do. So, what we need to do is find in our lessons ways that we can include visual things that just show what we're trying to explain, what we're trying to talk about. Find ways, simple ways, of getting the kids to say simple things that really cover the core of what we're teaching. Short statements that just stick in the brain, and then find ways that they can put it into practice as well by doing it. Because we remember 10% of what we hear, 50% of what we hear and see, 70% of what we hear, see and say, and 90% of what we hear, see, say and do. And you know what we've been doing here? Actually, it's been hearing and seeing and saying and doing. What are some ways that you can think of right now where you could add some of these things to the way you teach? Okay, doing actions with songs. Drama, yes. Some others? Role playing, yes. Living out what you do, yeah.
The children tell the story.
Okay, have the children tell the story, yes. Very good. Let's give you just a quick demo. Okay, Now, the first thing we can know about God, we can find out from this, which is the world. Where did that come from? Actually, the Bible tells us that God made it. And the amazing thing is, the Bible tells us that God keeps it together, holds it all in place, and all the other things that are around it. It also tells us that he was actually able to make that just by speaking. He also made the stars. How many other of those? Hey, if God is able to do all of that, what does that tell us about God? Well, you could say he's powerful, but that wouldn't be enough. Actually, the exciting thing and the real thing about it is that God is all powerful. So let's show your muscles, boys and girls, and we'll say, God is all powerful. Let's do it again. God is all powerful. Okay. This is a compass. And the needle is pointing to north. Supposing I followed that compass all the way to the North Pole, would God be there? What if I went the other direction, or just kept going the same direction, really, and ended up at the South Pole? Would God be there?
Yes.
What happens if I went to the... You can't get to the East Pole or the West Pole, can you? But if you went west and came back right through Western Australia and right back to here, would you ever get away from God?
No.
Why not? Okay, because the next thing we can know about God is that God is everywhere. Let's do that. God is everywhere. So now we know two things. God is all powerful and God is everywhere. Okay, terrific.
Hey guys, did you enjoy some of that training? If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you'd like more ideas like this, go ahead and subscribe. And I want to thank you, Wes. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. I love doing this.